started our lesson 6 on today, so we're going to go ahead and jump into the homework. I'm trying something new out. I'm going to try the blackboard because I know sometimes when I do the whiteboard, it's hard for you to see. So I'm going to try out the blackboard today to see if you can see that a little better. If you can see it a little better, please leave me some feedback, comments. Just let me know. Just put in the comments if you prefer the blackboard or the whiteboard. Just trying to make sure I give you the best possible video. So just go ahead and let me know that. And thanks to all the parents who gave me that little emoji for your students. They received the special thing they were supposed to receive. Great job, parents, on doing that. If you did not see it, then you might want to go look at some of the information I sent out on Monday, and then you will know exactly what I'm talking about. I can't tell you because I want you to go find it. So make sure you go and look at some information that I sent out on Monday. Okay, so let's go ahead and jump into the homework. So we started lesson 6 on today. Lesson 6, we are moving into multiplying with 3s, 4s, and 6. So far we have learned how to multiply by 0, 1, 2, 5, and 10. Now we're going to move into 3, 4, and 6. So again, make sure you're practicing that skip counting. Now we have new numbers to practice skip counting with, which is going to be our 3, 4, and 6. Remember, if you can skip count, you can multiply. So if we are starting on page 129, number 1 we did in class already. I did the vocabulary part with them. So now we're going to move to number 2. So number 2 says, Ramona makes an array to find 3 times 4. She decides to break apart the array as shown. Explain how her diagram can help her find 3 times 4. So let's look at Ramona's diagram. I'm going to put it up on the board. So we have Ramona and she has a diagram. And this is what the diagram looks like. Okay, and then we have another one. Okay, so what we worked on today is taking arrays. This is an array. So basically this is an array that looked like this at first. I'm going to show you what it looked like at first. We had 3 rows of 4. When we talk about arrays, we talk about rows and columns. Rows go left to right or side to side. Columns go up and down. So this is what the original array looked like. But then they decided, okay, maybe it's hard for me to solve 3 times 4 because I'm just starting to learn my 3s and my 4s. But I can break it up into something that I've learned already. I can break it up into maybe, because it's 3 rows, maybe a 3 times 1 since I know my 1s. Or maybe I can break it up into a 3 times 2 because I know my 2s. So that's what they decided to do here. So they took this array and they said, well, if I can break it up into 2 smaller ones, and once I break it up into 2 smaller ones and find that answer, then I can put it back together or add it together to get what the big array means. So that's what they are asking you for what Ramona says. Let's go back and read that question again. It says, Ramona makes an array to find 3 times 4. So 3 times 4, this is 3 times 4 over here, 3 times 4. That means we have 3 rows and 4 in each row. So that's her array, the original array. So it says she decides to break apart the array as shown. So she decides to break it up into this. She put it into 2 groups. This is the first group. I'll put first group. And then this is the second group. Okay, so she broke it up into 2 groups. Explain how her diagram can help you find 3 times 4. So they want to know, how can I use these 2 to help me find the big one? Well, this is what you can do because like I said, last week we worked on multiplying by 2's. So we can be able to solve this to find that. So let's look at this. If I was to write a multiplication sentence for this first array, well, I see I have 1, 2, 3. So before I do that, I'm gonna write the blanks for my multiplication sentence for each one so that we know what goes where. Now, the first row or the first number in our multiplication sentence when you're looking at an array is going to be the rows. And remember, rows go side to side or left to right. Then I'm gonna put it on here 2 rows. The second number is going to be your columns. So I'm gonna put columns for my second number. And then the last number is going to be your total or your product, which is the answer to your multiplication problem. That's a vocabulary word, parents, product, the answer to our multiplication problem. So now, when we are writing a multiplication problem for this is how it's going to go. So the first number is my rows. So if I look at this, I have 1, 2, 3 rows. So the first number is 3, okay? The second number is going to be my columns, where I have 1, 2 columns. Remember, columns go up and down, rows go side to side. So I have 2 columns, so 2 is gonna go here. Now, all I have to do is figure out how many I have in all. Well, we can do that because I have 2 in each column or 2 in each row. That means we can skip count by 2's. Remember, we started practicing skip counting by 2's on last week, so we should have a good hang of how to skip count by 2. So let's go ahead and skip count by 2. So if I skip count by 2, this will be 2, 4, 6. So now I know the answer is going to be 6. Okay, so now when I go to this side, for this second array, because we broke it up into 2 arrays, well, again, we start with our rows. I have 3 rows, so 3. And then I have 2 in each column, or 2 in each row, or 2 columns, or 2 in each row, so this will be 2. And then the total, well, we did our skip count, so we can skip count again. Again, there are 2 in each row, so we skip count by 2. This will be 2, 4, 6. So now we know that there are 6 total. Okay, so now I know what's the total for both of these smaller arrays. So now all I have to do is put them back together. Because remember, we split them down the middle. What we did was this. We split it down the middle to figure out the 2 smaller ones so that we can put it back together to figure out what this whole thing is. So let's go ahead and put it back together. So in order to put it back together, you take your totals. This is one total, this is the second total, and you add them together. So this is going to be 6 plus 6, and this will give us a total of 12. So the answer for the bigger array is 3 times 4 is going to equal 12. So I know you say, well, Ms. Newman, I could have just did that if I just went ahead and counted all of these. Well, yes, you could have done that, but they really want you to get in the practice of using different strategies, and this is called the break apart strategy, where we break it into smaller pieces so that we can put it back together in order to figure out what the larger piece is. So the question asks us explain how our diagram can help us to find 3 times 4. You can say, we will use it to find the larger array of 3 times 4 if we can find 3 times 2 plus 3 times 2. Okay, so we can find 3 times 2 plus 3 times 2, then that will help us to find the larger array of 3 times 4. Okay, let's go ahead and go to the next problem, which is going to be problem 3. Switch my page. Okay, so problem 3 says, solve the problem, show your work, okay? Renee has 4 packages of markers. There are 6 markers in each package. How many markers does Renee have? So they tell us we have 4 packages and then we have 6 in each package. So when I look at the 4 packages, the 4 packages is going to be my groups. And then the 6 markers in each, that tells me how much I have in each package. So that is how much I have. So we can solve this by doing we can do equal groups. So if they tell me I have 4 packages, that means I am making 4 boxes. So 1, 2, 3, and 4. Okay, so these are the 4 packages. I'm going to label them. This is the first package. This is the second package. And this is the third package. And this one will be the 4th package. Now they tell me that inside of each package, there are 6 markers. So let's go ahead and put our 6 markers inside of each package. This is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, so I put my 6 markers inside of each of those, and the question it asks is how many markers does Renee have? Okay, so we can figure out how many markers she has by doing a skip count, and we really want to start practicing these skip counting, and this one we'll skip count by 6 because we have 6 in each one. So if I skip count by 6, I'm going to write it on top. So this one is 6, then 12, then 18, and then 24. So this would be my skip count if I skip count by 6. So I would know that she has 24. So if she has 24, we can go ahead and do a multiplication sentence that would match our drawing. So if I did a multiplication sentence, let me go ahead and draw my blanks for that. Now, when we are doing a multiplication sentence, when we're doing equal groups, the first line is always going to be for your groups. The second line is the size of each group, which is how much is in each group. And then the last line is going to be your total, which is the product, how much we have all together. Okay, now, if I look at this, well, for my groups, I have 1, 2, 3, 4. So 4 is going to be my first number. The size of each group, well, inside of each group, I have 6. And then the total, we did our skip count. Our skip count was 6, 12, 18, 24. So the total was 24. So now we know that they have a total of 24 markers, so we can answer the question. The question asks, how many markers does Renee have? This is where you're going to answer this using a word sentence. So we would say Renee has 24 markers. and then it would be the answer for number 3. But then when we get to number 4 says check your answer, show your work. So basically the same thing we did here, they want us to check what we did in that one. So I'm going to do number 4 on the side right here. So if I want to do a quick check, you can do something else just to make sure you have the right answer. You can do an array. So let's go ahead and do an array. So if the multiplication sentence we used was 4 times 6, remember when we do an array, the first number when we do an array is for your rows. The second number is going to be for your columns. And the last number is going to be your total. So for my array, that means I'm going to have 4 rows, and then I'm going to have 6 in each row. So let's draw that array. So this is 4 rows with 6 in each row. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That's 1 row. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 2 rows. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 3 rows. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 4 rows. So that would be the array that matched this drawing. So now all we have to do is do our skip count, and if our total matches the total we got in 3, then we know we did it right and our check is correct. So let's go ahead and do our skip count on the side. So because there are 6 in each row, that means we're going to skip count by 6. And again, we're practicing those 6s. Now we're doing 6, 4, and 3. So let's skip count by 6. This will be 6, then 12, then 18, and lastly, 24. So I got 24. Well, I got 24 for 3. So that's my check that lets me know, hey, I did it correctly because I got the same answer. So that means this checked out and my answer would be correct. Now, make sure you're practicing the skip counting routine. There I have skip counting posters on my walls because we are also have it visible that we're practicing our skip counting. So again, we should be practicing 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 10. Those are the numbers we are working with now, so make sure you guys are actually practicing those numbers. That is it for the lesson today. Again, let me know how the blackboard did versus the whiteboard. If you prefer the whiteboard and you see better on the whiteboard, let me know. If you prefer the blackboard and you see better on that blackboard, let me know, because I'm just trying to make sure I'm giving you videos to where you can see and understand what is going on. So that is it for today. I will see you guys on tomorrow. You have a great rest of your day. Bye.